driveway? No.
Jet right, come on. On you, on your left.
It was almost a week after he died was when he started to dismember it.
Stand here, V formation. Spread out.
In July 2025, Georgia law enforcement and the U.S. military are pursuing an active warrant for the arrest of 23-year-old Rainer Joyner. Joyner was an Army soldier stationed in Fort Benning, Georgia. In the summer of 2025, Joyner and his roommate, 22-year-old David DeGroat, deserted their military obligations and fled roughly 1,400 miles west to Joyner's family property in Taos County, New Mexico. But first, the AWOL soldiers drove north to Virginia to pick up their friend and former comrade, Matthew McLaughlin. Out of the three men, Joyner and DeGroat have a closer bond.
We both known each other for a long time in the military. Both of our dads died, so we bonded over that. He has no other siblings left. So he claims me as like his younger brother.
Unlike his comrades, McLaughlin had been honorably discharged from the military. But after his service, he struggled with drug addiction. He thought leaving his hometown for a fresh start out west with his friends might have been the push he needed to get clean.
It's like, he literally did say, it's like, it's a new start, man, you know, I'm sick of Virginia, I'm sick of, you know, my family.
But Matthew McLaughlin's fresh start may never come to fruition because by late July, he goes missing. McLaughlin's family and friends back home knew that he had left New Mexico and gone to Colorado for a short period of time in July to take care of something with the VA. But once he returned back to New Mexico, they stopped hearing from him. On July 31st, his family files a missing persons report. McLaughlin's mother rents a car and drives to New Mexico from Virginia in hopes of finding her son, but she comes up empty. She tells officers that McLaughlin should be with his former military buddies, Rainer Joyner and David DeGroat. Now that the military deserters are implicated in a missing persons case, officers are doubly motivated to track them down.
Clear. The reason he hasn't come back.
When a search of the Joyners' Tres Piedras family property on August 17th turns up no signs of Matthew McLaughlin or the men he was last seen with, Taos County law enforcement and the U.S. military take matters into their own hands.
Sheriff's office, search warrant, open the door! Search warrant! The sheriff's office, open the door! Search warrant! Search warrant! Sheriff's office! Show your hands! Open and empty! Got dead space left! It's tight, it's tight, it's tight. Dead space right, I'm gonna move left. Byers and Kevin, clear that left. I'll hold right here. On me. Moving. Clear. Clear. Secondaries. Check everything.
Inside the home, detectives find an Army-issued duffel bag and a black box with AR magazines and ammunition.
Clear. Clear.
Want to get your sniper rifle and get up top on the turret and check that camper? Okay.
Which road? Left road or right road? This one right here. Red eyes. It's going there, one of our owners. Are you sure? That's the same. It's going there. I say when it comes up, we stop him and detain him and take him back to questioning because none of those guns are back to the house. It's weird.
Detectives prepare for the possibility that Rainer Joyner and David DeGroat are armed.
You run that plate. out of Texas.
They get out of the vehicle slowly. With their hands up, they walk toward military snipers and Taos County law enforcement. With a warrant for military desertion, which is a crime, both men are put in handcuffs. As the sun sets, police prepare to take Joyner and DeGroat back to the station for interviews. The main thing they want to know, where is Matthew McLaughlin and why wasn't he in the truck with them?
This paper, using those pens, whichever one you want. I want you to write me a personal statement, a statement from you, describing everything involving this incident from beginning to end to right now, as detailed as you humanly can.
Detectives are shocked by the gruesome truths Joyner scrawls on the page.
Starting from July 25 at roughly 1800, 7 p.m., I, Joyner Rayner, confronted Matt on the rightmost path leading to the house about 600 meters away. When confronting Matt, I asked him to explain why he was spreading rumors about me and bringing drugs, strangers over to the house. He, Matt in parentheses, said that I didn't come up there often enough, so it was basically his place. In a dark state of mind, I shot him with the Springfield Saint AR rifle I was carrying. After shooting him, I dragged his body to a tree 40 meters away on the left side of the road.
As investigators had begun to suspect, Matthew McLaughlin isn't missing. He was murdered by two men masquerading as his friends. Investigators' only question now is why.
He said it was more so because it was being disrespectful. He's being disrespectful, being nothing but a strung-out junkie, going back to his old habits. So he felt like he was taking out the trash or getting rid of a rat.
Like I said, he was spreading rumors, he was bringing drugs, he was bringing strangers. Like that, I confronted him, I don't know. I got pissed off and decided, you're not gonna give you the chance to up again. And so I shot him. Then from there, after shooting him, like I said in my statement, I dragged his body to a tree. The next day went to work. Everything was normal. After work, went to Harbor Freight, picked up a bucket, a few buckets. I only used one. Ended up deciding the best tool to use would be the splitter axe, and also bought some bags, 33-gallon trash bags.
While Joyner bought the supplies needed to dispose of the evidence, McLaughlin's body lay decomposing in the 85-degree heat. David DeGroat tells detectives it's true Rayner Joyner shot Matthew McLaughlin and disposed of his body, but he didn't shoot him in a fit of rage. According to DeGroat, Joyner had premeditated McLaughlin's murder for weeks.
From the beginning to the end, I need every possible detail that you have in reference to the situation.
So I would say it was, for what Joyner was thinking, it was pre-plotted beforehand. Because I would tell him about Matt still had a drug habit and he was still talking and making rumors. Everything just kind of pissed off Joyner, so several occasions. Kind of told him like, hey, no, don't kill him. Just, kick him off the property or something. Or like give him a stern talking to again. To the point where it eventually came down to the point where he says that he was gonna go with the plan for Matt to get killed.
I never planned to actually kill him in the sense of like, it wasn't premeditated. When I went up there, I was giving him one last chance to fix things.
Matthew was over in Colorado dealing with the VA, getting all that stuff done for himself. Went to go grocery store, pick up groceries. I went to go walk with him as we walked up the road at the cart carrying the groceries of everything. As we got to an intersection, a shot rang out. Matt got shot in his right lung from Joyner's rifle, specifically his AR-15. Matt, not knowing what's happening, he did say, "I got shot," and he starts to freak out. Then Joyner comes from around the corner with my Beretta. He sticks it to his face and shoots him in the jaw, which makes his eyes swell up. And he starts to choke at his blood as he hits the floor. And then he hovers over him with an execution shot and gets him right in the temple.
Describe to me in as much detail as you can what made you make the decision to kill Matthew?
Honestly, it wasn't a hard decision to reach for me. I'd already given him, what I consider plenty of warnings before.
Okay, what do you mean by warnings?
I'd gone up there before, like I told you guys already, and I told your opinion. I'd gone up there before, it never was violent, like, he acted like everything was fine. I'd gone up there, I don't know, that was not quite, a little less than a month before this all happened.
So Matt would constantly be talking a lot of shit of saying like, "Oh, he doesn't know how it is out here. We've been out here for 4 months. He hasn't been out here in 7 years. He doesn't show up in here anymore. This isn't his house. We don't have to listen to him."
I'd also tried to call him before, about a week before this all happened, more or less. We'd also met at Walmart, because we happened to be there, and I talked to him and said, "Hey, you're still, still kind of slipping up, what the f-?" He's like, "Oh, it's, I'm just, it's like, oh, it's fine, man, it's fine, I'm just, work's stressful." It's like, okay, I get that, I understand work's stressful, but, it's like, can't go back to what you were before freaking, before all this. Yeah, you kept up, you just kept up, and I was just, fucking tired of it. I don't fucking put up with that shit. I don't regret what I did, is what I'm saying. At the end of the day, I don't regret what I did. That wasn't the same dude I started with, like I said before.
But DeGroat insists that Matthew McLaughlin's murder was planned and that Joyner talked about it for weeks and even proposed different ways to catch McLaughlin by surprise.
I would say July 25th is the execution date.
Okay,
Everything
cool, bro.
else
So,
is more just a murmur of a pre-plot that he made.
so my one question for you is I want you to explain to me the plan that you're talking about.
A plan to kill Matt that Joyner made.
Okay.
So his idea was initially he was going to come up the road that we were going to have, and he was going to try to snipe him with his 308 from a distance. And then his plan changed when Matt said he was getting dropped off over by the other road. So then Joyner's idea was he was going to take my Beretta so he can have a sidearm. And then he grabbed his AR and then waited in the bushes for us to come up, and he told me to stick to one side of the road and to be very loud when I'm near the area. So when he sees Matt come up on the side, despite how dark it is, he doesn't need to worry about who it is.
When it was discussed previously, how was it discussed?
It was discussed in person because he showed up a little bit beforehand when Matt wasn't there to just try to talk about it because he figured phones would be tapped and like that no matter what.
In both versions of the story, Joyner's cold and merciless attitude toward murdering his friend remains the same.
From there, went back up to the land, back up to that spot, cut off his head and hands, bagged him up, put him in the Harbor Freight bucket, drove back down the mountain that next Wednesday, which I think was about the 30th, 31st, late Wednesday night. Found the animals that already started to expedite the process, cut off his lower legs and forearms with the axe, bagged them up, set them aside, and bagged up his torso. Took it all back down, went to another drainage ditch that was further up, about 6 to 7 miles up the road.
McLaughlin's limbs and torso were placed in separate bags, discarded along the side of a highway. Investigators found Matthew McLaughlin's head in another bag.
The decapitation for the weapon used was a sledgehammer with the axe head on it that he bought in the store specifically for that purpose.
From there, it's pretty much everything on that's pretty much accurate. But bought a few days later, bought buckets, the tools, so I could chop them up.
And why did you decide to chop them up?
Made the most sense to get rid of them. You can't really bury anything out there because it's all volcanic rock, so you can't really bury anything. So chopping them up made the most sense.
And why were you trying to dispose of his body?
Because I killed him.
To Joyner, dismembering Matthew McLaughlin's body after killing him was the clear next step. Less obvious to investigators is why DeGroat helped him with it.
He told me preemptively, he said, "You're gonna help me with this. You're gonna help me with this. You're not gonna tell anyone, or I will kill you." Because then I would be knowing too much. He'll just shoot someone just for talking. So if I became a loose end somehow and he found out that I was talking about it, I'm pretty sure I would get an end cap in it as well. Have the same fate as Matt.
What makes you so fearful of Joyner?
It's because I know he's capable of doing it. Just because he says it also means he can do it.
You provided some specific instructions to David. Can you describe those instructions to me?
I made him hold the bag,
What for?
chopping it up, just in case body bloat or anything like that had made the body volatile in nature.
Okay.
He wanted me to hold the bags so he could dump the body parts in so he can make sure my DNA was on the bags as well.
And how do you know that?
Because it's what he told me. He said, "You're going to join me or you're going to get the same fate as Matt." As he did. So you're going to help me with this body if you like it or not.
Before sitting down together, Raynor Joyner led detectives to 2 sites along Highway 64 where he dumped Matthew McLaughlin's remains. But when police arrived there, it appeared some pieces of McLaughlin's body were missing.
Would you start dismembering Matt before or after I called you guys to ask where he was at?
It was beforehand, before the first initial call for the missing persons report. He already had no head and hands by that point.
Okay. How long did it take you guys to dismember the body?
He threw away the last piece around last week, which was the torso and a leg bone. But there was no meat on it, it was just nothing but ribs and the spine, hips.
Can you tell me about the bags, bro, and How many bags or buckets are out there?
Like I said, I never lied to you guys about that. There should have been at least the first spot you guys stopped at should have only been the bucket, and then the next stop should have been. Think about that for a second. Should have been 3 bags.
The next stop, 3 bags.
Yes, it should have been 3 bags. I was nothing but compliant with you guys about that. I don't know what the happened to the other bags. That's where I got them.
And I do appreciate the fact that you took us to both locations and that you were honest with us about the bodies. What was the final straw? What made you make the decision that, hey, I'm gonna kill my friend? I'm gonna set him up and I'm gonna kill him. What made you choose that path at the end of everything?
Nothing I said before was a lie. I don't put up with shit like that. It's like I told myself I'd never put up with shit like that again. It's like I've given him chance after chance after chance. You know? And it's like every time it just you might as well just actively spit out face about it.
Now that the story of Matthew McLaughlin's cold-blooded murder has been told, investigators have a chance to ask his killer the question that's been at the forefront of their mind since the very beginning. Does he have any remorse?
And how do you feel about the fact that you guys served together in the military for as long as you did? You picked him up and brought him out here and killed him in cold blood, set him up with somebody you trusted. You forced somebody that you care about to set up somebody else you care about in order to murder him. And then you chopped his body up in order to dispose of it. Do you have any sympathy or sadness or pain or regret about what you've done?
Truthfully, no. Like I said, I wasn't the same guy I served with.
23-year-old Rainer Joyner is charged with first-degree murder, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, aggravated battery, assault with intent to commit a violent felony, conspiracy to commit murder, and tampering with evidence. For his role in the crime, 22-year-old David DeGroat also faces charges of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and tampering with evidence. In September 2024, a judge orders the men to remain in a Taos County jail as they await trial for the murder and dismemberment of Army veteran Matthew McLaughlin. Matthew McLaughlin's family has a GoFundMe to help cover the remaining costs from their search for him over the summer. The link is in the description. For Law&Crime Investigates, I'm Kristin Thorne.